What's up, quarantine cinephiles? Netflix just dropped a new episode for Snowpiercer. This will be the series premiere of the movie version that happened back in 2013, directed by Bong Joon Ho, which is also based on the French novel. If you're not familiar with this series, what happens here is the world has frozen over. It's an apocalyptic tundra, and the setting is already 7 years since the extinction event. The Snowpiercer is actually a bullet train composed of 1,001 cars. The train needs to be in constant motion, so it's been circling around the globe, and that will be their source of heat and electricity. That's the only way for those people to survive. Everyone in this makeshift society has their own function. You can already see the hierarchy here. Those who are in the front are the rich and the privileged people, compared to the tailies, which are located towards the end of the train. And we also seen in the neat animation that is presented in the beginning of the episode that these tailies are actually kind of like Kate Crashers, that those in power have suppressed. These people have few access to food, and if you're familiar with the protein blocks that they've given in here, if you've seen the movie version, you pretty much have an idea of what these protein blocks are made of. It's not particularly scrumptious. Unlike most Netflix shows, this will be dropped on a weekly basis, so I figured I'm gonna do a review for the series premiere. I'm not going to rate though at the end of this video. I would rather reserve my opinions up until I've seen the last episode. For now, I'm gonna give up my spoiler-free thoughts, and then I'm gonna go do a breakdown of what happened in the first episode. I have to admit that I'm a bit skeptic going on to this series because the movie version has really done such a well job on bring these elements to life. Themes of class warfare and the struggle of the poor and the rich. This movie has particular brand of showing the grit that whatever's been revealed as the story progresses, you're just seeing it in the point of view of the tailies. In here, I guess there's no point of hiding it because most audiences are already initiated of what's going to happen. So it just shows immediately the set design, which I admire because they share the similar set designs without copying it too much. In here, the tailies are represented by a central character named Andre Layton. He's played by David Diggs, and in my head I'm already making this connection that he's the movie counterpart played by Chris Evans, in such a way that they're both reluctant leaders who are charging this revolution, which has always been the main storyline of the movie. For the rich, there's a character named Melanie. She's the voice of the train. She is the figurehead when it comes to hospitality concerns. This one is played by Jennifer Connelly, and my mind quickly connects it as a counterpart for Tilda Swinton's character back in the movie. Given that there are 10 episodes to come, I definitely have higher expectations. I would like to see characters which are not just predefined. In your head, you're supposed to root for the tailies and then view these rich people as the villains of the story. But I'm expecting that the series will give complexity to these characters, that nothing is ever black and white. And also when it comes to the shifting loyalties and more themes to be explored. In this series, it's made a point that tailies can go to a better spot once they have the needed skill sets required by these rich people. In episode 1, we've seen the character of Andre Layton being recruited because he happens to be the sole homicide detective, and there's a murder mystery plot going on here. I am not sure if I'm entirely loving that subplot, but I figured that they needed more subplots in order to fill that 10 episode arc. The last thing that I wanted from this series is to stretch that material from that movie. Adding this murder mystery plot, while it's not particularly engaging as of the moment, might be able to flesh out more of the motivations of the characters. For example, for the character of Melanie, you can see that she is an authoritarian figure. She's calm, but I can see this kind undertone in her character, and same for Andre Layton. He's a reluctant leader. Both characters, even though they're placed in different factions, I can see that what they want is to achieve their goals with little bloodshed as much as possible. This series will have the struggle of getting off on the ground because it's just heavily overshadowed by the movie version. It's really well regarded. Right off the bat, I'm really looking for the direction of Bong Joon Ho. Bong Joon Ho is actually executive producing here. There's a fight sequence that happens here at the beginning of the series, which I tend to compare on what happened in the movie version. I just think that the movie version has more fluid action sequences into it. In the series version, there are a lot of cuts, and you're also wanting for the strong cast performances. That is not to say that the cast here are not that good enough, but the characters from the movie have made such an iconic impression that it might take a while when you realize that they are not really the characters represented in this series. They have their own motivations, they have their own set of personalities that you should embrace going into this series. I guess I'm going to discuss the big reveal that happens toward the end of this episode, so spoiler alert for those who haven't seen yet. In the end of the episode, the engineer is basically the representation of their god, that they follow the rules, that the existence of this Snowpiercer train won't be possible without it. It's actually revealed to be Melanie, which is big departure from the movie version, because in the movie version, the biggest twist there is we found out that the figurehead of the tailies and the figurehead of those who are in the head are actually in cahoots of working together. I figured this is quite a game changer for me, that in episode 1 we have revealed already so much information and made this departure. In my head, I was thinking that maybe they have more material to work here. This show is already renewed for a second season, and I happen to know that one of the actors, Sean Ben, is listed in IMDb as the Mr. Wilford. Now my head starts thinking that maybe Mr. Wilford is not a person but rather a position, a moniker for the head engineer. So I am curious where that show is going for. So right now for episode 1, I'm not entirely excited for where the series is about to go, but I think they've done a lot of setup to make this series as quick-paced as possible. I'm really expecting for the amount of tension and the amount of grit that I got from the movie. And I am curious on the storylines that are about to come. So I guess that's it for my review / breakdown for the first episode of Snowpiercer. Guys, tell me in the comment sections if there's something big that I missed, if there are Easter eggs hidden throughout the episodes, because I've just seen the episode once. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a review for the next episodes or just save my opinions up until the last episode. But surely if this show is gaining much traction that I expected, I might do more episode reviews in the future. Thank you guys for watching, and see you on the next one. Bye!